In today's video, we're going to talk about separating your business salon expenses from your personal. This is huge right now on the Biz Talk. Tracey, I have to separate personal from business.
Yes.
Every day.
You should personally leave this business.
But that would not be business-like. Oh, got him. Come on. Oh. It's the way it goes, man. If you get an oh, got him, you got to drop it like that. Try it.
Personally, it's none of your business.
Okay. And then now, oh, God, come on. Oh, got him. Got him. All right. We're going to move on here.
Please do.
This is probably very common mistake that people make and extremely important to your nail business. So if you are in business, you must listen to this episode. It is huge. It is key. It is vital. And I have lots to say about this, and Tracey does too. But
you always have lots to say.
About everything. Yes. And this, Tracey, is no different. I'm actually very passionate about this topic because we, young nails, when I first came into the business in like the year 2000, it was very messy. Like
one account for all.
It was one, and I think a lot of people do this, right?
Yeah, totally.
Where we had one bank account for the business, but then everything was getting spent out of it. And we cleaned it up very quickly, got in there and we totally cleaned it up and got everything dialed in. But you can't, if you are currently doing that, okay? If you currently have like a business bank account and you're spending everything out of it, you have to be very careful. Like everyone's situation I know is very different, but you have to be able to separate your business expenses from your personal, even though it sounds like it's hard to do. It's actually not. It takes a little bit of organization, but I'm going to get into this in terms of like how to do this. But when I say that to you, Tracey, when you first started your nail business, did you already have that kind of dialed in? Were you already like, okay, whatever business income comes in, what I spend out of it for business is going to be X, and then what I spend personally is going to be taken out of here? Like, did you have that dialed in or understand that?
I did actually, but
okay.
I did not have a separate account in the beginning. However, I took X amount, went into a savings account, and then I had a separate credit card that was strictly for business.
Got it.
That everything got paid off of.
All the expenses.
And then the savings paid for it. So I guess I did kind of have a separate account.
Yeah.
But then eventually, of course, I just got a separate checking account and then complete separation.
So, which is good. Ideally, it's nice to have like a business account.
Yes.
Okay. Like, so where all the revenue you generate from your nail business goes right into this account. So if you've got your Venmo, you've got your, however you charge your clients,
Square, all that. Yeah.
It goes into a business account, and then all of your business expenses are paid out of the account. So like toilet paper or, supplies, if you're buying inventory, any expense or eventual expense must come out of that account. And then for you yourself, right? If you want to go on a vacation or if you're going to buy groceries for home, ideally what happens is you pay yourself an amount out of that business account into a personal checking account, savings, whatever. And that's where you purchase your personal stuff. And I'm going to explain why. So you eventually had that going on?
So when I first went into salon, I did it in a different form. But by the time I owned a salon 3 years later, completely separate personal business account and everything funneled through. It just,
it's cleaner.
Plus, it kept my husband out of my checking. No, just kidding.
That's the biggest benefit.
No,
keep your significant other out.
Before I did that, I had really, really good records, but it was so much simpler when it was just keep it separate.
That's it. So part of the problem is like you could have one account, okay?
Yeah.
where everything comes out of. But then after each month, you have to go into your banking records and you have to actually separate out everything. And it's just a lot of extra work that you have to do.
Yep. First thing my accountant said, get a separate business account.
Correct. Okay. So a lot of times what we do is you start making money and you just start depositing it into your personal account, and you start spending that money as you go. And then at the end of the year, when you have to file taxes, your accountant is going to be like, okay, so what is your business income? You're like, I don't know. And now you have to go into your bank account records, and then all those deposits, you have to determine, was that a check from, did my mom give me something for my birthday? What are all of these business income, or is some of it business income? Like it becomes, you start to play detective. And then if you're not figuring it out, then the accountant has to somehow try to figure it out, get your decision on if it's business or personal income. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially because as nail techs, if we have our own business, I'm not even talking about salon, but let's say you're
independent.
Independent.
Right.
You have so much cash coming in.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think anymore, checks at the time, if you're just depositing and you have no
idea.
How are you going to figure out, like, how much does your business make?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like, you need to know that stuff for purchasing stuff, buying homes. Like,
right.
You got to have an idea of what you make. If you can't,
that's right.
There's a problem.
If you eventually want to like buy property or get any kind of loan, a car loan, whatever it is, which in today's day and age, everybody is, you need loans, You need credit cards, you need help with financing. You have to be able to show records and accurate records and tax returns that you file. So you want to be able to capture all that. Now, a lot of people you might be watching this going, oh my God, I have to go open a separate bank account and that is one step and you're kind of done. And then you have to connect everything to that business account. Yes, it's a pain in the butt. It takes a little bit of time, but then it's clean.
Then the records are all there.
Exactly.
Print it out. It's all there. It's so much easier.
It's so much easier.
It's just that initial step of going and doing it.
Now, a lot of people ask, like, well, I don't, like, why, I understand for the purposes of keeping it separate, but, like, so what? Why do I need to do it? And
it's going to go in my personal account eventually.
So, like, why do I need to, do all this? And the reason why is because of taxes. Ugh. Okay? So
it's a bad word.
It is a nasty, nasty word. And I'm going to tell everybody right now, okay? Every penny that you generate from your business, I don't care if it's tips, I don't care what it is, you deposit that money and you claim it as income.
It makes your life so much easier. I had so many people not understand that. And they're like, you put everything in your account and claim everything? Yes, I put everything and I claim everything because I don't want to worry about it.
Dude, you want to sleep at night. Yep. You do not want to worry, am I going to get audited? And if I get audited, we're going to get in trouble. People talk to me about, like, how I have other friends that have businesses and they're like, oh my God, bro, I'm getting audited right now and I'm so stressed out. And I'm like, that sucks. It
could be stressful, but
if
you're in your head or like, I did it right.
I've paid all my taxes. I've done everything right. I don't have any worries. I could get audited tomorrow and it's always a pain in the ass to get audited, but I wouldn't be stressed about it because we do not mess around with that at all. Never will.
What did your accountant say?
Our first accountant that I hired, this was back in 2000, and we brought him on board, and he told me, he was like, okay, I have one condition when I start on this journey of uncovering your expenses. And he had to go through boxes of invoices. I mean, we didn't even have stuff in computers, Tracy. It was all manual. It was all paper back then.
Yeah.
And he said, I have one condition. When I come to you with the number, we pay, you don't come to me and like, oh, can we lower it by like $5, this much because I want to pay less taxes. He goes, whatever that number is, you keep it. He said, no monkey. I'll never forget it because it was when he said no monkey business, I'm like, did this guy actually just say no monkey business? Like this
But it makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
He knew exactly what he was talking about, right?
I knew exactly.
And the other side, and I've seen this in our industry, even personally with friends, because we make a lot of cash in our industry,
of course.
Right? And they go to purchase a home or something, and they're having a hard time qualifying for the amount that they really can't afford to do because there's no trail. They're not claiming that money. So you claim half of your income. That's all you can say you make.
That's all you can say you make. And now you can't, you want a loan? Sorry, you don't make enough money, but I have the money. Oh, you do have the money. How did you get the money?
Yeah. Was it a gift? What happened?
It uncovers.
I gifted it to myself.
Yeah. Well, I sure did. It's my own gift to me.
Personal little thank you.
Exactly. You can't mess around with that. No monkey business means you do it on the straight and narrow. And I remember he told me this. He was like, he looked at me and he goes, are you ever going to need to get a loan, Habib? Like, do you eventually want to buy a home? I said, yes. He's like, then when the business makes money, you pay taxes on that money. And then that is now in stone. You've paid taxes. You've claimed this income. This is what you bring to banks to get a loan for a home or to get a line of, in our case, we needed a line of credit because we were a growing business and, we're an inventory-based business. So what that means is we buy inventory and it goes into stock and that cash is now sitting on the shelves. You need line of credit to help you to finance certain things.
Grow your business.
Grow your business.
Maybe you want to open a bigger salon, but you can't qualify now.
Right.
The other thing too, what also it protects is kind of I'm not saying this happened to you guys, but you have a situation where there's 3 of you that own, correct?
Correct.
I had a business partner when I first started distribution, and I'd be like, what did we need at Costco for $300?
Right.
It was all groceries for their family.
What?
Yeah. What's this charge of $200? I need suitcases. Why is that coming out of you keep the separation and it'll keep you from arguing because how is that fair that she spent $500 on personal stuff that month and I didn't take any money?
A dime.
Take a dime.
Right.
And it was all on my credit card also.
Oh
and coming
my
out of
God.
and then I had to pay for it out of the business account. So how is that? So open conversations with business partners about get it in writing and contracts. Believe me, it caused huge arguments. Just going by and just taking cash out of the bank. Like you can't do that.
You can't do that.
You pay. You make a decision on what floats back into the business, what's for taxes, and what you're going to take each month as a pay.
Exactly. And with nail tax, it's let's say you're bringing in $100,000 a year in revenue, right? In services that goes into the bank. And then you are pulling out, let's say out of that, you pull out 80,000 from the year, right? 80,000 into your personal account. Let's just say, and you're leaving 20 grand for toiletries, expenses, rent, maybe it's more than that. I'm just using this as an example. That 80 grand that you pulled out, you have to pay taxes on that. So let's say you pay, 20 grand, it's probably more. Let's say 25 grand in taxes. What you're actually left with is $55,000. That $55,000, that's after tax dollars. That is the money that you use to buy your personal stuff. Because what happens is if you're buying that out of the business account, personal expenses, and if you get audited, the IRS is going to say, hey, was that the groceries that you bought at, Target or whatever,
Costco, whatever.
Costco, all those groceries we see here, here's the receipt. How is that related to nails?
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to account for it. So if you spent, let's say, $5,000 in groceries for the year, they're going to say that's actually personal income. That's taxable. So out of that $5,000 that you spent on the groceries, you got to pay taxes on that. That's not, you can't use that as a business expense.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
You have to be able to say, no, that actually was for water and coffee for the salon.
That's
and
totally
laundry
different.
detergent to wash the towels.
Correct.
And here's the
Receipts.
The receipts. It wasn't for Captain Crunch.
Correct. It wasn't for Captain Crunch. Exactly.
And I'll tell you, and we've seen it many times, the one people you do not mess with taxes. We ain't giving business advice, but I'll tell you, don't mess with do not mess with the IRS
100%.
or sales tax people. They don't mess around.
They do not mess around. Always it's always good to keep those things separate. What you do is, obviously everybody needs to find their own, financial advisor, accountant that can help you organize this and get you set up in the right way. We're just generally speaking about, you can't blend it all together. I mean, you could, as long as you have everything dialed in and organized so well, but that's so much work.
Make your life easier.
So much easier, where you keep things completely separated, it's going to do you better for the future on the business side. This is strictly like, in my opinion, how you develop a good organized business, how you grow one. You got to be organized, especially on the financial side, and keep all that stuff dialed in and get help with an accountant or a financial advisor.
And how else to know if you're making it in the industry? Are you doing good in the industry? I don't know.
Oh my God, Tracey, I'm glad you brought that up, because that first year that we hired that accountant, we had no idea what was going on in the business. And then he spent 6 months, 6 months organizing paperwork, if you can believe it.
That's a lot of paperwork.
It was insane. He spent 6 months. He came to me finally and was like, I have some news. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. He's like, the good news, you guys were actually profitable. And I'm like, what?
Woohoo!
I was like, what are you talking about? And I remember it was a small amount, right? Relatively speaking. At that time, we were like, oh my God. He goes, I was like, oh my God, we're like celebrating. We're like, we turned a profit. Then he goes, the bad news is you owe taxes. And I was like, what? And I remember, but there's no way we would have known that without him organizing everything and getting everything separated. And then I was like, well, how are we going to pay the taxes? And he goes, the question that everybody asks. He goes, you have to figure it out. And I was like, oh my God. And that's where I needed, oh my God, we need a line of credit from a bank, to help us finance our accounts receivable or payroll. And that way we can pay our taxes. And then it's just an ongoing cycle, man. But there's no way we would have known.
And that's I think one thing that's unique in the business industry is you really are, unless you're going to work for someone, not only taking on nails, it's a business. It's a business.
So having said that, make sure you keep everything organized and separate it. If you have any comments on this topic, please let us know below. Tracey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next time on the Biz Talk.
Subscribe the channel now. Subscribe the channel now. Subscribe to the channel now. Subscribe to the channel